So we're going to try out this voiceover because it's just potentially easier than talking during the video. I am doing rough-in, drain rough-in, and waterline rough-in for a island prep sink. So I am just drilling the path through the floor joists here so that I can run the drain line and tie into the main stack. So I'm just drilling through the floor joists. The floor joists were 12-inch on centers, so there's a lot of little pieces of pipe. So here I'm just measuring and cutting my sections to go between the floor joists. And every section will have a coupling attaching to the next. It's kind of unfortunate that the floor joists are 12-inch on center. If they're on 16s, then you can usually kind of distort the pipe in enough that you can get a couple longer pieces as opposed to just smaller pieces connected with couplings. Because the floor joists are 12-inch on center, the longest piece of pipe is like 11 inches, more or less. And then you just got to put each one through the pre-drilled hole, put a coupling, put the next one, put a coupling. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. Whenever I'm doing one of these rough-ins, or most of the plumbing stuff that I do, I always try and test fit everything before I do the glue up. So I'm just test fitting, seeing what works for the drain and the turn here going over to the stack, because it's a sink drain in an island, and I will be backventing this. It means that the trap is in the floor, and before the trap you need to have a tee off to come off and tie into the vent. So it's just easier to get everything pieced up and positioned before you go and glue it. So I'm marking into the stack with my 3x1.5 inch Y to tie in the drain for the new sink that I'm roughing in. So I just mark that and cut out the section of 3-inch pipe. And because it's such close quarters, like I can't get a sawzall in there to just cut it right out. So using the multi-tool, cutting out a section, then you take out a small section and then cut the back of the pipe with the multi as well. And it's kind of the best way of doing it in such a scenario where you can't really get a sawzall in there and cut straight through cleanly without damaging surrounding surfaces. So I did need to trim up a couple times just to make sure that I could fit the fitting in, because there was not a whole lot of play in the drain going up or down. Another option could have been to cut it lower and then fit the 3x1.5 inch Y up to the top there where I cut, and then using an MJ and reattaching to the 3-inch with that. But I looked at my truck and I did not have any 3-inch MJs. So this is what I ended up deciding to do here. And when I glue up the pipe and I try and put it in, I needed to trim down a little bit of this chase at the top to let that top section slide back down. There was room in it for that, but it just wasn't quite seated the way I wanted it to, so I wanted to make sure that it got seated down properly so that it wouldn't cause any leaks or any issues down the line. So now that I'm satisfied with how everything was in, I'm gluing everything up and attaching, and just making sure everything is sitting correctly. So I'll go through and glue up from where my connection into the stack was and work my way back to where the P-trap will be. So any sections that I can pre-glue down, I will do. Just makes it easier, and sometimes you mark them for positioning so that they go exactly as you had it test fit. So this is a section that turns over and then comes into that T there for the vent, and then I'm just checking, making sure that that section is plumb, or not quite plumb, but has the proper slope. And then I'll pre-glue up the trap and put that on. One thing is, I don't think you can really see it in any of the video, but for drain work, whenever you turn a drain 90 degrees, you either have to use a long sweep 90 or 245s, and that gives the proper amount of turn for it to drain properly. When you're doing venting, you can just use a regular short 90, but for drain, it has to be a long sweep or double 45. I'm not sure if that's what I'm gluing up there, but it might be. This is the pre-glued P-trap that will be fitting into place with the stub up going up, and throw a cap on that after it's not on video, just so that no sewer gases can escape. This section of ceiling is in a basement bathroom, so luckily I'm able to tie into the vent coming off of the basement vanity sink for my back vent for the prep sink in the island. I'm just knocking out some bracing that's in the way, and the bracing's just there for when they build the house, that it keeps the floor joists plumb, I guess you could say. This place is pretty old, so the bracing, it's a cross bracing. It's not necessarily necessary anymore, and I can knock out a couple sections that are in the way for the work that I need to do. just finalizing the vent connections, getting everything glued together so that we're all set with the drain and venting. I'll tidy up all my drain stuff and move on to water lines. Running PEX lines just up to the sink. I didn't do a great job at filming this section and the connection to the existing water line. So I drilled my water line holes, ran it on the underside of the joists, fastened with J-clips, and then I ran up where the main kitchen sink is, which is in the other room ceiling. You can kind of see, but ran up there and then just teed off the hot and cold from that with ProPress T-fitting and 90 down with PEX, and just did my tie-in like that. Capped the water lines for the prep sink, and that was it for that. Turn the water on, test for leaks, and I always test my drain by pouring a couple buckets of water down, make sure that there's no leaks there. But I didn't get to film any of that. So that is the rough-in for a kitchen prep sink.